Am I doing this one?
Go nuts.
Okay, and now top right, spawning is the teal Protoss. We have Fusion Slugs Mufang, a top 8 Platinum Protoss. Down starting in the bottom left of Cloud Kingdom, mGG's Platinum Terran. Nice Liquid, spawning in the red color.
Another little bit of banter back and forth from Liquid. So as the resident expert Protoss, what do we think we'll see here from Mufang?
Well, as always, probably some sort of expand build depending on reacting to what he scouts from Liquid. And it's always the little struggle trying to hold your natural and your main while you get up some sort of splash. So you get splash, you can take that third. That's when you can start punishing the Terran back. So that's the general gist of how things tend to go in this matchup.
And I think we are going to see a pretty standard macro game from both players. Gateway and barracks going down. No proxies, no SCVs going out. And the scouting probe is on its way for Mufang. But we do see Mufang taking that gas. It looks like we might see some sort of gasless expand again from Liquid. He hasn't taken any gas yet.
Yeah, pretty common from the Terran player in this situation. And the scout does get in, so we'll be able to see the gas count. And we'll be able to check for the expansion, assuming he can escape the base once he gets in. But it looks like Nice is going to go and block off any sort of escape, unless he runs down there. No.
It does seal it. So that probe's days are numbered.
Yep, but till then he can get some good scouting off in the gas, and if he can keep an eye on that gas, seeing that it's not being taken, then he can know that, well, he can assume that an expansion will be put down, which is looking like what's going to happen with the Bank of 300 coming from Liquid as he gets ready to put down that command center. There you go, if Mufang got really lucky, could escape through that supply depot, but I really don't think that's going to happen at this point. So we do have a double gas opener by Mufang at the moment, as the cybernetics is being dropped. This usually goes into 3 different types of thing. You got your first one is going to be some sort of proxy Stargate with 3 gates behind it, which is pretty damn strong against a gasless expand. Second is some early sort of DT or blink play, and then the third one is a safe sentry expand. And with that third pylon being dropped inside the Protoss space, it's not looking like it's going to be any sort of proxy Stargate plate. But Liquid's being really smart and keeping his SUV behind the mineral line, so he'll be able to see when Mufang expands if Mufang doesn't check behind there.
Yeah, but that pylon placement, even though it's inside the base, it does look like he's going to try and hide some sort of tech there. Yeah. It's a little bit out of the way, but...
If you have a look at the gas count, he's actually got 2 workers on each gas, which is one of those things where it's really strong for a large number of stalkers, so it might be blink play.
Yeah, Twilight Council.
I'd be willing to bet that was going to be blink play. Looking at it from the 2 workers on each gas shows it's going to be, yeah, there we go. So it's going to be a blink obs. Could be a DT drop, but I'd be willing to bet blink obs with the 2 workers on each gas, which has now been raised to 3, so we'll have to see.
Ooh, we did see a scan go down for nicely, and he did catch sight of both of those.
Okay, that's absolutely great for him. So now the way to react is make sure you get your detection up in time and chuck a bunker in your main to stop any sort of blink crash in the back, and it is going to be blink. So Liquid at this point should hopefully build a bunker in the back of his base, and he's sending a worker over in that direction at the moment, and there you go. So Liquid is reacting perfectly to this, and he still has that worker behind Mufang's worker, natural mineral line, so he can see that there's no sort of expansion coming, so he'll be able to tell, that this is a very aggressive attack. And he can take it full seriously. He does need to make the command center add his orbital into the command center add his natural into an orbital, which is a big mistake considering he did a gasless expand. So that command center's been there for a long time. He really does need to make that into an orbital. But at the moment, everything else he seems to be reacting perfectly.
He knows what's coming.
He's getting Marauders out. He's got concussive upgrading. Hopefully he'll get stim when he can afford it. But yeah, he's definitely looking very strong at the moment.
That probe is moving out to throw up that proxy pylon, and then the blink harass will begin. But as you say, his liquid has reacted almost perfectly to this.
It's really killing me that he's not getting that orbital at his natural. Could be, you know, his economy would be absolutely amazing now if he had those two mules instead of one being dropped. But besides that, everything else I'm absolutely happy with the way he's handling this and playing this.
He's getting that stim upgrade now. There's the orbital going down, so...
Okay, so he did notice and he is reacting to it. He does have a second bunker at his natural, so it's not like he's sacrificing all the strength of his front door to protect his back, and he can still pull those marauders out of the bunkers on the high ground and still have that high ground advantage.
Nicely done. That obs went in, he saw the two bunkers there, and tried to push the front, but...
What I'd really love to see by Liquid right now is doing some sort of bunker block or eBay block at Mufang Natural, because all of his army's on the other side of the map. And if he can block that...
And there's a blink in now, we do see he's tried to get past the bunkers, but he is still fighting them there. I think he could just move around and start sniping SCVs, but we do see some blink micro going off. He's trying to blink back onto the low ground, but it depends how much this attack is actually going to do, and I don't think it's going to do enough.
Yeah, and his time's running out. Once Stim finishes, he's not going to be able to do anything. Nice getting a really strong Marauder count out now. It's 9 Marauders versus 9 Stalkers. Concussive is finished, and Blink is almost done, about 2/3 of the way done, so his time is definitely running out this attack.
We just see SCVs being pulled here. They're going to get a sandwich on these Stalkers. They're going to have to blink down, I think, but they're still going to be in range of the Marauders. They are slowly dying, but not enough focus firing going on from Liquid, but he is going to be able to hold this, I think, quite well.
Nice Marauder down around the bottom, which is getting a nice couple picking off a couple extra Stalkers.
Nice blink back there, saving that last Stalker from Mufang. But if we look at the units tab, not only is he up a base, he's up 4 SCVs and mules on top of that, so his economy is just a lot stronger.
Really love now that Liquid's got a couple Marines out. If he did a scan, he won't be able to do it now, but do a scan knowing that there has to be an observer there.
Yeah.
And then he can shut down that path of attack.
We look at the production tab, there is no production from Mufang currently. He is committed to this attack now, I think. He's going to keep walking in units at that pylon, but I don't know if he's going to have enough. He has got past the bunkers. Liquid's pulling his Marauders out of there now. He's going to sandwich them.
These Marauders are getting pretty damn low in health, but Stim has been finished.
Those SCVs are going down really quickly though. Is Mufang going to be able to pull this off?
Yeah, the macro of Liquid has just really been dropping. You see he's got 1,000 minerals banked up, and he's now dropping 3 barracks, but it might be too late.
I think it is. He doesn't really have any units. He's got 2 Marauders and 19 SCVs against 11 Stalkers and a Zealot over here.
Yeah, that constant aggression by Mufang, not giving up on that, but he needed to keep macroing, but Liquid needs to keep macroing behind his defense.
More Marauders are popping, and the Stalkers are going to be able to blink behind the mineral line. They're getting into a nice position where the SCVs aren't going to be able to do that much. And I think Mufang might be able to take this game here.
It's looking like it. A very strong 3-gate blink observer attack, and there we have the GG from Liquid.
On you, man.
Okay, starting in the top left, the winner of last game with a 3-gate blink observer Obs-all-in. Wait, yeah, that's the obs bit. We have Fusion Slugs and Mufang. And starting down in the bottom right as our green Protoss, we have the last player on mGG, Zeratul. It's the same, may the best DT win. Zeratul does very much favor any sort of DT play in pretty much any matchup.
They are really good at using
to say that he's the most DT in all of mGG. I personally think that would have to go to Nemesis, followed by myself, followed by him. Feels me to brag for him as that I'm saying that he doesn't use enough DTs compared to the rest of us. And mGG Nemesis uses probably the most DT I've ever seen anyone use other than Inco. Whenever I play using one of my off races now, I just get about 20 Spore Crawlers and 20 Spine Crawlers at every bit. Now I'm not talking about DT rushes, I'm just talking about late game.
They are very annoying. I've lost quite a few games now to just, like, you take an advantage and then DT's hit and you're like, oh no. And you just lose all of your advantage and you have to start again.
Well, as we see, Zeratul decided to go for an early Nihilin scout, which is pretty early for PvP, but with all my games I was playing with him today, he did that every game, so it's definitely a way that he prefers and feels safe. He also does like building his buildings at the ramp, making sure that nothing can sneak past him into the base. So he beat a couple of just when I tried sneaking past him and he saw me coming.
It's pretty standard from both players at the moment. They've gone pretty similar builds. You do see a Cyber going down for Mufang, and it looks like yep, there's Zeratul, so he's slightly behind, but in terms of buildings, but his units, he is up a probe at the moment.
Yeah, Mufang's Chronos so far hasn't been fully used, so I have to see if he's saving them for some sort of 4-gate, or if it's just lost a bit of focus on that. But Zeratul's been pretty good at using his Chronos so far.
Just interesting to note that Zeratul's got a probe in Mufang's base, but Mufang's Zealot is rallied to Zeratul's natural.
Yeah, so the probe Zeratul has in Mufang's base pressed up against the gas, making sure that he can't steal another, making sure that he can't get his second gas, and at the same time showing exactly what's going on, as you just said. He suspects a 4-gate, and so far I have to agree that Mufang's made no attempt to get the second gas, is not making any more workers, and is now dropping.
There you go, the gates.
So Zeratul sees this coming, and he's making a sentry, so right now it's just going to come down to control of those force fields, be prepared for them, and make sure he hits all of them as he needs to.
So he hasn't seen them, but he does know they're coming. Mufang is now chrono boosting out that warp gate upgrade. I think Zeratul did delay that maybe a little bit just by keeping that probe there. Nice.
Yeah, definitely. If he kills the Zealot, he can go down the ramp and kill that probe, which he's doing with his Stalker right now. And if he does that, this pretty much shuts it down. And Zeratul's going to be in a lot of Mufang's going to be in a lot of trouble. Mufang's sentry is out, is getting a robo up, so I'm expecting he's going to try and go for the Warp Prism 4-gate as a follow-up. So I have to see how Zeratul decides to handle this. It looks like he is getting his own robotics. We have to see if he gets some Immortal chronoed out in time. But yeah, definitely killing that probe and single Zealot is putting Zeratul in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, he looks pretty solid so far. He's handled it quite well. Nice force field picking off that Zealot. And we do see some more Zealots and Stalkers being warped in for Mufang as that Warp Prism.
Yep, so just caught up at Warp Prism. He hasn't continued any sort of probe production, so he's down to 19 at the moment.
Oh, no.
And Zeratul losing one Stalker and possibly the Sentry. Yeah, he's definitely going to lose that Sentry, which is a big shame. He never should have sent the Sentry across the map. He could have sent the Stalkers to do a bit of poking and prodding, but definitely not the Sentry, because that thing is never going to get home in time.
Nah, he overextended a little bit there. He does have his Immortal on the way, and he is chrono boosting it out. Another Sentry being warped in. Whether that Immortal will get up in time, I think it might. With chrono boost, I think it will.
Yep, should be, and so this is going to come down to control. At the moment, Zeratul's 3rd gate has just finished, but he has been down to only 2 gates for most of this. So he's definitely down in units at the moment.
He's also supply blocked. He's got 41 over 42, so he can't build.
But just opened up in time. So we've got good angle coming in for the Warp Prism through the top by itself.
The Immortal's trapped at the back. It's not really tanking any shots, but it is doing a lot of damage, and I think Zeratul's going to be able to hold this quite nicely.
Yep.
As you can see, the Immortal is just rallied to attack the Stalkers, so...
As the Warp Prism has arrived in the base and has walked in 4 Zealots, we have to see how long it takes Zeratul to move. He is pulling probes, but he didn't do the mineral walk, so he did lose a lot of them. Go down to workers killed. It's 9 workers have been killed through this attack, but this is one of the cases of, even after all that, they're dead even workers still, because Mufang has not been making workers this entire time. So if Mufang had continued making workers, he would be in a great spot. But we have to remember that Warp Prism is still there, and as it's still there, it's going to go back in, and this right now Zeratul can't move out without War Prison there because counterattacks are just going to keep destroying him if he tries to.
And as you say that, Zeratul's army is moving across the map and the Zealots are being dropped in his main. The probes are running. This might turn into a base race.
And Mufeng's got a sentry ready, so as long as he gets these fields, you know, it's right now it's Mufeng's game to lose, especially if he sends these stalkers up by themselves.
And the force field does go off, and he does trap half of those stalkers. Very nicely done. The Immortal is shooting from the low ground. Force field going off.
Drops a second. That's only hurting more than helping, and all workers being pulled across the map. So
Sentry gets caught as a Zealot.
There is an observer here to try and give them some vision of the high ground, but once again, with these force fields, they've got no way of going up. They've got no Archon, they've got no Colossus.
Oh, and the Sentry does get a force field off, but the probes do make it up the ramp. They are taking a lot of damage, but they're not...
Probes fighting against us isn't going to end very well.
No.
Zeratul.
I think Mufeng might be able to hold this if he keeps those force fields up long enough.
Definitely, and this is looking like it's going to be game very soon. Mufeng just needs to keep walking in units, but they do get into the base, so now it comes into the battle of control. But those Zealots just doing so much damage, and a great force field once again, trapping half the Stalkers down on the low ground.
That Immortal is still alive though, it's now taking quite a bit of damage, but I don't know if Zeratul, no, he doesn't quite have enough.
Remember, he still does have the 4 gates behind us.
He's got no probes and no income though, and there's the GG, and Mufeng takes the game and the series for Fusion Slugs.
Congratulations to Fusion Slugs, taking that, what, 5-3.
5-3. Very well played, guys. That was a lot of great games.